Islam. Islam. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. Peace and love to all active Moors, all unconscious Moors becoming conscious. Honors to the Prophet Nobuju Ali. Honors to all the true and divine prophets. Honors to the forerunner of the Moorish movement, Marcus Garvey. So, since they can't, you know, stop the Moors right now, as far as these, Negro, black, colored, African groups or whatever, um, they're trying their best. They're trying their best. You can't knock the hustle. But right now is the age of knowing. Right now is the time of using your common sense, using your intelligence, using logic. And a lot of people are trying to stray people away from using their common sense. A lot of people trying to stray people from using their common sense. So we're gonna just listen to some stuff to start and deal with some issues that came up about 2 days ago on this Titans TV. Remember, Titans are, you know, Roman soldiers or whatever. We'll leave that alone. So Titans TV, they got Wrong Way L, Ngozi, Dolo the Moor, and Team Osiris, so-called debating the origins of Moors. Now, anybody, and I mean anybody whatsoever, anybody who had anything to say about Moors, their ass got kicked by Sharif Bey when he kicked Reggie's ass with regard to Moors. Because keep in mind, that so-called fake doctor that doesn't have a doctorate by the name of Reggie called out all Moors. So all Moors sort of sat back and, we know that Sharif Bey, did his studies or whatever. So we were able to sit back and let him go do his thing. He had his little team behind him, and they kicked Black Power, Afrocentricity, Pan-African, chematologists. Everybody's ass got kicked. But, that's not enough. They want more. So they got the new House of Consciousness now, Titans TV. The new House of Consciousness coming out now, Titans TV. And they're gonna use the low level so-called scholars and then start a whole nother debate thing going on, right? With regard to Moors again, right? And just like Canaanland TV, you know what I mean? They're gonna bring Moors on there to talk that, really the Moors really to talk to, We know the Moors who they should talk to, but they're not gonna talk to those Moors because those Moors don't even have time for these guys and their BS. We have work to do called uplifting fallen humanity. Right? I heard Brother Amazite had his blog talk show a couple of days ago, and he had about 200 people on there. You know what I mean? We had the summit on the weekend. A lot of new people came out, people who were just, looking for information, to the point where This Saturday, we're going to be back there again, but now focus on us now because the people were very distracted, according to them. If you've seen the summit, you know, they didn't get to do here, listen to what they came to listen to. They came to see Moors. They end up, you know what I mean, jumping on the Moors bandwagon, even if they're not nationalized or whatever, and beating up on Hebrews on behalf of the Moors, if you listen to the stuff. So we want to take a few minutes just to, you know, play some of this stuff right here and clear up some misconceptions by people who say that they have so much honor for this man, Noble Drew Ali.
Out anyway, so we can respect everybody's cipher. So Konsu, I'm going to open up the floor to you right now. Just introduce yourself, where you're calling from, and let's give a question. Sorry?
Oh no, my bad. I thought Ngozi was on first. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I think he's not on anymore.
And it's real interesting that, you know, I think Ngozi should be on, but I could be wrong though. Was Sheikh Wrongway L, who was wrong? Just to stress the point of what we told people with regard to him, why we call him Wrongway L, because he's always wrong. And there it was out of his own mouth that he's wrong. Always putting his mouth in stuff. That when he just should shut the hell up. Ain't nobody talking to him, he wants to always say something. Right? Can't shut the hell up.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get back in.
Peace and love, man. You know, when it comes to the Moorish, and listen, I'm a Noble Drew Ali fan. Ain't no other prophet or any other thing better than having your own kind from the same struggle that you come from in North America. And I'd rather have him over here in the diaspora than have some, you know, desert Arab or some mythical figure from the so-called Middle East. So I got much respect and love for Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and everybody else that's part of our evolution and or our development over here. Now here's the thing. When it comes to certain things, the Prophet, he died in 1929. So he did the best that he can. I mean, a lot of that information is outdated, some of it, but we have to understand the methodology of what he used. When you use terms like ish means to be like. More is not more is a term for a Westerner or someone who is a dark Muslim or dark skinned and you. The Moorish American Muslims will say, no, it's not that. Or it's well, I'm a Moor. I'm dark skinned. I just sent from people who spoke, it was part of those Moorish empires or Moorish militaries, whether they were Bindi, Wardom, or from Senegambia. Somebody asked the question, Consul asked a valid question. He said, what language did the Moors speak? Well, for Moors we talking about, or what group of darker skinned people we talking about? If they were from Yemen, they spoke that language. If they was Mandinka, they spoke a Niger Congo language. If they was Fula, they spoke a Fulani language. If they was Wolof, they spoke Wolof. And all three of those languages Niger Congo. If they was Berber, they spoke Amazigh. If there was a dark skinned Moroccan from southern Morocco, they spoke Harappan. So now we got to get into the groups that makes up the Moors, or the people that's classified as Moors. You get what I'm saying? And and Morocco plays a major history in our African history. And even when you study the Barbary War in 1805, we're talking about the Amazigh, which is free men. The term Moor itself goes back to the Amazigh, which is free men or nobles. You feel me? So it's kind of cool to try to be something that's free outside of the struggle that we've been through. The Jews can get away with doing it. The white boy called himself Jewish. He said he wants to be like the Jews because there is no Jew. Ish means to be like. You get what I'm saying? So they create false personalities for themselves. He can also call himself an Aryan. And we know the pale-skinned, blue-eyed dude is not an Aryan. The real Aryans live in India. And they're olive skin or swarthy skin with jet black hair. So how can we say that he's an Aryan? So if he can get away with calling himself Aryan and be part of the Aryan nation, what's the problem with brothers and sisters calling themselves Moors or anything else? Let's get into demographics right quick too. Morocco is a lot more close to you than Egypt. I mean, I had to tell me, Noble Drew Ali said that we come from southwest and northwest of Maxim, or Africa. So he did acknowledge Southwest Africa, countries like, Mali, Senegambia, Togo, Benin, He even talked shit. But guess what? Morocco is a lot closer to you than Egypt. Why don't we talk about this? You feel me? What's the genetic affinities that makes up a Berber? Are Berbers black? I think Tuesday, if you allow us to, are not black but are they African or indigenous to the continent. Tuesday, Brother Kalam, if you allow me to, as you stated, if we can go further, I'll be breaking it down piece by piece. Because the Afrocentric community got the wrong idea and concept of what is and what's not. They don't even the first people that was coined Africans, which was the free people, were Berbers. So if you're going to call yourself an African, why can't you call yourself a Moor? Because Africans was Berbers, and they looked all types of ways. Everybody wasn't blue black like Michael Jordan or a Sudanese person, especially in that part of Africa and Tunisia. We know the Phoenicians came in 800 BC, and after 800 BC they formed Carthage. Then they mixed up with the Berbers, and the Berbers was already mixing up with people from southern Iberia, Euro-Asian women. So it's a lot of things going on. So what did the original African look like is the question. Because he didn't look like Scott, he didn't look like Michael Jordan or Sudanese. The first people to be classified as African.
Excuse me. Islam. Excuse me.
Now, let's just clear up for the record that Ish has nothing to do with to be like and all that stuff, right? If we go to the dictionary and we look up Moorish, it tells us that it's an adjective and it means of or pertaining to the Moors. 2, in the style of the Moors, as architecture, decoration, etc. Late Middle English, Morris, Morys, C more, hyphen, ish, and then it says 1. Right? So, just like Blackamoor, they distinguish that ish is the adjective and black is the adjective and Moor is the noun. So the Moor is the identifier, not the description. Moor is the identifier. So when Noble Jew Ali, the illustrious prophet, came and told our people since 1913 that you are not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian, that your nationality is Moorish American, he was telling you that your nationality pertains to the Moors. And then that's it. Nobody has to go into anything else for you. Nobody has to describe anything else for you. Nobody has to bring no 100 books to break down for you why you're a Moor and all that stuff. Noble Jew Ali did it all for you. He told you that your nationality as Moorish American pertains to the Moors. And then he went further and broke down to you that Moorish Americans are descendants of Moroccans. So now he's tying you to a geographical location because your nationality is based on a geographical location, which is Morocco. And then people are going to run across the Atlantic Ocean and point you to some place in North Africa as Morocco, when the real deal is the Morocco that he is tying you to is the Moroccan Empire, the Empire of Morocco, which is on this side and it's on that side. So the jurisdiction of Morocco that quote-unquote Moorish Americans are tied to is not some country over there. It's the empire that you're tied to. And then he went further and told you that Moroccans is a modern name but the ancient name of Moroccans is Moabites. So let's just quickly touch on just some information that's online. Anybody could find this out or whatever, right? You don't need the Bible for it. It's just information that's out there. That anybody who has internet that uses their logic, uses their common sense, would see what Noble Drew Ali did when he tied you to the Moabites. When he told Moors. Let's just read it so people don't claim that, we're making stuff up and we're just saying stuff or whatever. Divine origin of the Asiatic nations. Verse 2. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. So the Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites, are part of the Asiatic nations, who the key of civilization is in their hands, meaning us, the Moorish. And when we do our research on the Moabites, in any language, in any library, in any scriptures, you're going to go back to Ruth, who Noble Drew Ali told you was a Moabitess. Which again, he's tying you to your ancient foremothers and forefathers that he told you that you need to return to their mindset. But how are you going to return to the mindset of your ancient foremothers and forefathers if you don't know who they are? And like we said, Noble Drew Ali took away all of the secrets. So there's no secrets right now as far as Noble Drew Ali is concerned. He gave you everything that it takes to save a nation and told you think and save yourself. He didn't tell you listen to Lord Abba. He didn't tell you listen to Asar, Aset, whatever. He didn't tell you listen to anybody that says whatever, says that they're Moors. He didn't tell you listen to Taj Tariq Bey and listen to Cujo L and whatever. He said think and save yourself. Because he gave you everything that it takes to save a nation. Everything. And we haven't taken what he's given us and saved ourselves. We've taken what he's given us and, looking for some type of verification of it from somewhere. That's the prophet. That's the prophet Noble Drew Ali, who said that he wants his Moors to know the truth and the divine truth. Truth needs no apology, no definition, no explanation. Truth is what it is. Either you accept it or take off your turban and fez and go back to the state where the prophet found you. So he told us that we're descendants of the ancient Moabites. He told us who Ruth was for a reason. Right? And we were supposed to go do our own research. Don't listen to what anybody says. You go do your own research for yourself because this is your birthright. This is not the Grand Sheikh's birthright. This is not the Supreme Grand Sheikh's birthright. This is not the heads of the Moorish Divine and National Movement birthright that they're putting you on to something because they got it and now you want it. So, you got to go to them to get it. No, you just go out there and do your research. And you would find out how illustrious your people were and are. The essence of Ruth, her driving force, was the discovery and acceptance of the 606 commandments she was missing. Thus, Ruth is a Torah seeker, par excellence, who held up to the rest of us as the shining model of proper Torah acceptance. If we could learn to emulate Ruth in our own act of Torah acceptance, the act of divine service, that is the essence of Shavuot, we would succeed in absorbing the entire spiritual input offered by God on the Shavuot holiday. While quite obvious at first glance, this theme does present a major difficulty on closer examination. Anyone reading the story of Ruth is immediately struck by the strength of her dedication to her mother-in-law Naomi. The famous passage from which the Talmud derives many of the laws of conversion portrays Ruth's stubborn refusal to part from Naomi in the strongest possible term. But Ruth said, "Do not urge me to leave you, to turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go. Where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people are my people, your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus may God do to me, and so may he do more, if anything but death separates me from you." Ruth 1:16-17. The appreciation of this thesis requires some more background. God said to Moses, "You shall not distress Moab, and you shall not provoke war with them." Deuteronomy 2:9. Why would it have occurred to Moses to wage war with Moab without God's permission? Moses reasoned thus: if the Midianites, who only came to assist Moab in the war Moab waged with Israel, the Torah commanded, "Harass the Midianites and smite them, for they harassed you through their conspiracy that they conspired against you." Numbers 25:17-18. Surely the same policy should be applied against the Moabites, who were the instigators. But God told Moses, "I think differently. I still have a wonderful treasure to pull out, Ruth the Moabite." Not only was Ruth David's great-grandmother, it was specifically she that was required to be able to bring David into the world. The need for her was so great that the entire Moabite nation was sustained for several hundred years in her merit, while the world waited for Ruth to be born. Can we find any sources to uncover why Ruth the Moabite specifically was needed to bring the line of David, from whom would descend the Messiah, into the world? The angels urged Lot, saying, "Take your wife and your 2 daughters, who are present." The Hebrew word nimzoas, Nimzoas, who are present, in this verse is a reference to 2 important discoveries: Ruth the Moabite and Naamah the Ammonite. It is written, "I found my servant David." Where did God find him? In Sodom. When God destroyed Sodom, he saved Lot because of his 2 daughters. The daughters believed that they and their father were the only people left on earth, and engaged in acts of incest with him. As a result, one gave birth to the progenitor of Moab, and the other to the progenitor of Ammon. Ruth was a Moabite princess according to tradition. She was used to the best things in life. She was also a beautiful young woman in the prime of life. The steps she was taking would introduce her to a life of poverty. Her mother-in-law had lost everything she had through her misfortunes, and was returned home entirely destitute. Ruth was torn, but what she wanted was closeness to God. She wanted attachment. Staying in Moab, observing the commandments, would not give her that. Only attachment to the Talmud would. She decided to go with Naomi to join the Jewish people no matter what. But the strain of her inner conflict made it difficult for her to keep up. This is when Naomi stopped discouraging her. Naomi understood Ruth and saw that she was after an attachment to God. She had absorbed the true message of Judaism. Lut ibn Haran in Arabic, known as Lot in the Old Testament, is a prophet of God in the Quran. He also appears in the Bible, but the biblical stories of Lot are not entirely accepted within Islam. According to Islamic tradition, Lot lived in Ur and was the son of Haran and nephew of Abraham. He migrated with Abraham to Canaan. All the Hebrews out there. He was bestowed as a prophet to the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. His story is used to demonstrate Islam's disapproval of rape and homosexuality. He was commanded by God to go to the land of Sodom and Gomorrah to preach to his people on monotheism and to stop them from their lustful and violent acts. According to both the Quran and the Hebrew Bible, Lot's messages were ignored by the inhabitants and Sodom and Gomorrah were consequently destroyed. They cannot be exactly located, but it may be supposed that they were somewhere in the plain east of the Dead Sea. Lot's people are the people whom he sent on a mission. He was not one of their own brethren, as was Salih or Subaib, but he looked upon his people as his brethren. The Quran says that Lot is a prophet and holds that all prophets were examples of moral and spiritual rectitude. So the report of Lot's drunkenness and incest is considered to be false. It was his nation indulged in homosexuality and was destroyed later after several severe warnings by Lot. The narrative of Lot occupies a relatively large space in the Quran. Most of these passages place the narrative of Lot in a line of successive prophets including Noah, Hud, Selah, and Shoaib. In the past, scholars have stated that these particular prophets represent the early cycle of prophecy as described in the Quran. The prophet would be sent to his community. The community would pay no attention to his warning and would instead threaten him with punishment. After years of preaching, God would ask the prophet to leave his community and his people would be subsequently destroyed in punishment. This sound familiar to a certain community that had a prophet come to them to give them warning, but instead they threatened him with punishment. And after years of preaching, God would ask the prophet to leave those niggers. Not somebody assassinate him. God said leave them. Because clearly they don't get what's up. Clearly they don't want to get what's up. And his people would be subsequently destroyed in a punishment. 90% of our people in prison sound like punishment to you? Earthquakes, raggedy ass buildings that, no building code inspector inspected, falling on people, killing them, sound like punishment to you? All because what? They had a prophet. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah had a prophet that came to them and told them that you better get your stuff together. Didn't Noble Drew Ali tell these people in Divine Warning that the God of the universe is not pleased with the actions of my people? Didn't they say right here the prophet would be sent to his community? Doesn't everybody agree that Noble Drew Ali was a brother from our community? And then you have, the pseudo love crew. Yeah, we love Noble Drew Ali. We honor Noble Drew Ali and everything that Noble Drew Ali, but, and then they go off into some whatever like that to which is totally contrary to their love and support or whatever that they talk about with him. And then the only people that back him 100 are the active Moors. The only people that back Noble Drew Ali 100% are the active Moors. Everybody else, they're half-assing with what Noble Drew Ali brought. Telling people Noble Drew Ali said naturalize, telling people Noble Drew Ali said pay taxes, and because he said go get a marriage license, now you should go get a license. Everybody that's playing around with what Noble Drew Ali brought and not telling the people what it is, they will get theirs. It's a documented fact. They're not going to be able to escape. Right? Like we told people, I was down with the Orishas. Olokun used to come check me in dreams. There was a sister that we knew that used to go into trance. And Olokun was who used to talk through her. And she said, you talking about me, you're going to be doing something, but don't worry about people following you or whatever, because people aren't going to follow what you're saying. But don't worry about them, because the ancestors already ripped them off. So don't even worry about the people who don't want this. That's why I talk how I talk. That's why we move how we move. That's why we could go meet with anybody. And we know that when we leave there, it's the 5 people out of the 30 people that we went there to get. Nobody else. Because everything that we do is divine. There's nothing that we do as active Moors that's for ourselves. Right? People look at, for example, when we went to North Carolina, right? And, we had the store on lock. You know what I mean? Master teachers up there. You know what I mean? Freaking hitting people. Hours in the store. Just hitting people with it. Guess what? Guess what happened after that? When we went back to the hotel. No knowledge or nothing like that. Brother Marlon and Seton Ray and Seton Ra and Brother Taj, they're watching the fight. They were studying and stuff like that. They were watching the fight, chilling. Because we did our divine work. And it's alright to, you know what I mean? It's alright to chill. Because our work was done. You seen the video. You seen what went down in North Carolina. Can't tell me that our work didn't get done. And then after work, we went to a restaurant and did more work again. And guess what? The morning time, when I got up for Brother Knowledge to come pick me up, to drop me to the airport on the Sunday, right? And we left at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was up at 6:30 in the morning to get ready. Guess what Brother Taj was doing at 6:30 in the morning on Sunday? Guess. You wouldn't believe what he was doing. Sleeping. No, he wasn't studying. No, he wasn't up 6 o'clock in the morning with, law books up to here, studying stuff. Sleeping. Woke him out of his sleep to tell him that I'm leaving, and he just went back to sleep. Because everybody needs to be real sometimes. You know what I mean? It might appear that Moors are superheroes and stuff. We're regular people, just like you. Noble Drew Ali was sent by the higher force to inspire you to be better than what you are right now. And he gave everything up. Are you going to listen to him? Or are you going to be like those people in Sodom and Gomorrah, burning down with the community? It's going on right now. Noble Drew Ali came 1913, told these people about their nationality and birthrights in 1913. 1913. And today, still today, people don't get this. And then you have these jokers. Yeah, they love Noble Drew Ali. We care about Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali's teachings were great for the time that it was, but this is a new time. How's it a new time when there's still people calling themselves black? This is not no new time. This is still 1913 right now. How's it a new time when people still don't have a nationality? Back then they didn't have a nationality. He brought it back to them. They still don't have a nationality. It's 100 years later. Clearly, this is not a new time. But everybody wants to be the man. Just like, that's why we read the readings before every meeting. Where he tells people, lets them know, yeah, they're jealous of my fame and nobility. They're so jealous. They're jealous of my fame and nobility. Because, I'm the man. And everybody wanted to be the man. Everybody wanted to be the man to the point where they took Moorish Science Temple of America signs down and put up Temple of Islam signs. And then in 2016, Detroit got water crisis. And everybody, blame the pipes and blame the pseudo government and blame these dirty Moors who abandoned the prophet, which inspired other people to abandon the prophet. And now you're getting judgment for that. Sodom and Gomorrah, all over again. Why is all your children, you got all these other nationalities, their children are in martial arts, gymnastics, and all this stuff. What are your children doing? They're at barbecues, holding on to fences, while little brothers gyrate on little girls and adults taping it. And you think that your condition is something to be proud of? Really? You're really proud of that? Like we use the good example. You know what I mean? $3 to make a pair of Jordans, and these people paying $2.50. Paying $2.50 for some stuff that costs $3. You tell me that this is not Sodom and Gomorrah? Tell me that this is not the revelation going on right now? Beast with the 7 heads and all that type of stuff. You don't think that's going on right now? That's going on right now. Why? Because all these people denied this man by the name of Noble Drew Ali. Deny him. And they want to know why they have problems. Because he denied the prophet. Go check the record. Anybody in history, there's a track record of this. This is not something Moors are saying because, we got the prophet on the pedestal of the prophet pedestal stuff. And, people are, that's not what this is. There's a track record, a historical track record, that the people that the prophets were sent to, when they deny him, their shit falls. That's just what it is. When are the people going to wake up to the truth about their nationality and birthrights? Like Noble Drew Ali said, when they face the point of a sword, then they're going to want to know. When they're about to lose their children, when their door gets kicked in, and they're about to take their children out the house, now they want to be Moors. When IRS comes and says, you owe $50,000 tomorrow, now they want to learn about law. Now they want to study and get Black's Law dictionaries and stuff. It might be too late soon. Keep denying this man that brought you your salvation. Keep denying this man that brought our people unity. Because he brought us unity. Not just amongst us, he brought us unity with the entire world. How do you do that? By telling us that we're Moors. By telling us that we have a nationality. That we're not these names that, it's funny how conscious black people are going to say European called us Moors, but our people call themselves black. European called us Moors, so they're not going to call themselves Moors because that's a European. European brought that. We're not going to call ourselves Moors. The European said that we're Moors. But they're going to say that their ancient foremothers and forefathers didn't call themselves Moors. Their ancient foremothers and forefathers called themselves black. Even though Dr. Ben told them that they call themselves Moors, right? McRitchie, David McRitchie, J.A. Rogers, all these authors came out and said that these people were calling themselves Moors. But they're going to play. You know what I mean? And not, because remember, the people who are playing you, their satisfaction is in this realm. Their satisfaction is here. You know what I mean? Being able to have this and have that and get this and wear this and have this on and buy this and here is their jurisdiction. When all that stuff can't be used anymore because, you can't take it with you when you leave. And the dude at the gate is looking into you and you have no soul, you're getting sent back here to repeat this again. Just because you denied the prophet. Just like in the literature, when the Moor went to the store, the Arab store, and the Arabs had a picture of the prophet in the Arab store. And they asked the Moor, you know what this is? Moor's like, yeah, that's my prophet. All right, good job. Why? Because they are the protectors. The same sand niggers that these guys are talking about, they're the protectors of the Islamic creed. So don't think that they don't know. Don't let them fool you because they say Muhammad and the Allah and all that stuff that they don't know about this. And they don't know about this. And they don't know that the Moabites, the dark-skinned people, are the founders of the city of Mecca. Don't let them fool you. You better take what Noble Drew Ali brought and go study what he brought you. Because the only way out of the fire is through the fire. Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, and all that stuff. The only way out the fire is through the fire. Let's hear some more what these clowns have to say. Because they try hard. They try hard. And for ignorant people who don't know any better, yeah, they'll trap them in some stuff. You know what I mean? They'll get them to abandon their prophet and all that. But that's why we do what we do. To counteract these people that's trying to get people to make this Sodom and Gomorrah again. Don't forget, active Moors. We have no time to look back and turn to salt. We don't have time for that. We're already way down there. We might be physically in Sodom and Gomorrah, but our essence, our spiritual self, our higher self is not there. We might have to deal with things that are going on this realm that other people deal with. As they say, they shot a Moor, so why would I be a Moor if they shot a Moor? Why would I be a Moor if they killed Noble Drew Ali? Well, who told you that Noble Drew Ali was a body? Who told you that Mansur Bal Bey was a body? You're not Somebody posted this today. Let's just touch this quick. Higher and lower self personal development. From heaven and hell within. Mentally, socially, emotionally. Physical realm. Victim, fear, desire, anger. Mental realm. Entitlement, pride, courage, reason. Spiritual realm. Acceptance, wisdom, love, unconditional love. And then unconditional love is at the top. Unconditional love is at the top. And then Noble Drew Ali told Moors that they need to love instead of hate. And then when we say the 5 principles, love is the first principle, which means that this is at the top. And then this is higher and lower self-personal development, and then unconditional love is at the top. Then Noble Drew Ali, from 1913, said that love is the first of our principles, and that Moors need to learn to love instead of hate, which means that he was pushing love harder than anything else. And then in order for you to get into the spiritual realm through higher self-personal development, you must have unconditional love, or you'll be a victim. And heaven and hell is within. Mentally, socially, emotionally. All those are heavens. All those are hells. Pick one.
Given to us from foreigners. No one calls itself a Moor, but we run with that. And I'm a Moor.
I disagree. I disagree.
I'm not going to play the game. You cut me off. Somebody cut my wisdom. I'm not going to play the game like Noble Drew Ali was right about everything that he said and everything that was done. Because that's crazy. This man brought information in 1929. He also said something that didn't make sense. He said the Turks are the true descendants of Hagar. What Turks is he talking about? We don't got.
We was the first Turks to see me.
No. I'm not finished, brother. And then we can go back and forth. What I'm trying to say is this: it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the first Turks was. The first Turks, if they was dark skinned or whatever, they didn't view you the same way as you view yourself. That's the bottom line. And we have to understand the diversity of the continent that we know as Africa. Yes, you had a few people that left out of Africa and was responsible for building Göbekli Tepe 12.
Right. They love their Africa. Let's just see what Noble Drew Ali had to say about Africa. Let's just see. Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the Father and the Son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest was his father's dominion of Africa. In the later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they are the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even onto present North, South, Central America, the adjoining islands, etc., etc. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race. descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. Now, nowhere did Noble Drew Ali say we have nothing to do with Africa. What we do know as a fact is that there's no such thing as an African, because the descendants of Africa all have nationalities. And he also said that the descendants of Africa are all from the land of Canaan. So, if all these people in the land of Canaan, all these Africans, this is why Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that you are your ancient foremothers and forefathers return. Noble Drew Ali, anytime you see him, he was either wearing a turban or a fez. Why? Because the descendants of Africa, so this is King of Cameroon, turban, right? King of Cameroon, which is today under the jurisdiction of Moorish, because it's pertaining to the Moors. The Jewish, pertaining to the Jews, the Jewish Nigerian Igbos. And then you know he's Jewish because look at his necklace right there. So you know that he's Jewish. Right? The Jewish Igbo of Nigeria. The Jewish, pertaining to the Jews. Just like we talked about, who were really Moors, not Hebrew Israelites. That's why they wear fezzes. The Jewish Nigerians. Just do your research on Jewish Nigerians. And they don't think that they're Ashkenazi and stuff like that. The Jewish Nigerians. The Jewish Igbo. IGBO. The Igbo that aren't Jewish, these are just the Igbo now of Nigeria. These are just Igbo. Forget Jewish or Christian or whatever. These are just Igbo. See those guys way back there too? Everybody, guys on the bottom there. They even got a white one, right? Okay, the one individual with a brim, but then everybody else Igbo, Nigeria. Right. The descendants of Africa all came from the city of Canaan, land of Canaan. Bambasa, king of eastern Uganda. And then he has the Canaanite El god, Corn Fez. Right, the Canaanite god, El, got a corn fez like this. And then here's Uganda. Right? And this is eastern Uganda. So this is the eastern ones. then southern Uganda. So in the south Uganda, they got their fezzes up. Remember, this is not over here. This is over there, where the so-called black guys say, yeah, our culture, we're African people and all that. They're Africans. You're not Africans. You're Moors if you're from Africa. You're not Africans from Africa. You're Moors from Africa. We already know only Masons and Moors wear fezzes. And these guys aren't Masons. So they have to be Moors. Use your common sense. Use your logic. Don't let these people play you out of your birthright. Because they're playing you out of your birthright. Trying to convince you that Noble Drew Ali didn't know what he was talking about. Trying to convince you that what he brought, that doesn't apply today. How doesn't it apply today when this is culture? This is not some group. Find me a Muslim that says whatever that came from Muhammad doesn't apply today. Find me a Buddhist that says whatever that came from Buddha doesn't apply today. Oh, but Moorish Americans who had a prophet that give them stuff, oh, his stuff doesn't apply today though. But all these other people's stuff apply today. But Moors should be changing up what Noble Drew Ali brought. No need to change what Noble Drew Ali brought if there's still people calling themselves black today. Clearly they didn't get the message, and his stuff applies today. Let these people play you out your birthright. You'll learn by the point of a sword, like Noble Drew Ali told these people that they're going to learn. Northern Uganda. And all around Uganda, and everybody knows Fez is up. All around Uganda, everybody knows Fez is up. The big ass smile and stuff like that. You think some Turks gave them this? He's smiling like that? He should be mad if some foreign whatever gave him this. Why is he happy that a foreigner gave him his culture? Think they don't know what's up? You keep listening to people, right? So you're not going to listen to Moors. And then Tila Tequila came out and told them on Twitter, black people are not black. You're melanin. Whoever the hell Tila Tequila is, clearly she's European or something. Pale. Told the black people. And all the black people got mad. All the black people, 1 million freaking comments on her stuff. Uncurse yourself, niggers. Because you're not black. But they're going to play their game. It's okay, they could play. Let them play. No, let them play. Don't get played.
1,000 years ago. If you don't want to call it Africa, I'm going to call it Africa because that's what we know from a scientific perspective today. I don't want to get into linguistics and history about Scipio Africanus conquering a group of people in Carthage, taking on their name, and then naming a whole continent. That's whatever. We know about that. But when you talk today to people, we got to deal with how we understand things today, not how we understand it amongst one another. So what I'm trying to say is this. Those Turks that was responsible, who did leave out of Northeast Africa, who were descendants of the Natufians, who left out of Africa around 15,000 years ago, migrated over there, built those things called Göbekli Tepe. Yes, you had an African presence over there, but by the time they become Turks, they don't even look the same, and they don't identify themselves the way that you are.
So, what they're basically saying is that by the time there was an African presence in the jurisdiction called Turkey today, By the time you get to people called quote unquote Turks, they didn't look like Africans anymore. Now suggest we suggest that don't go on Google, don't use the internet, don't Bing search, none of that stuff. Go to the Turkish area. Wherever you live, they got some Turkish people that live there. And go ask the Turks who don't look like Africans today. What did the Turks look like 50 years ago in Turkey? 100 years ago? And see what those people tell you. Because I've asked. Because like I always bring up, I work in a adult school where the dominant subject of that school is ESL, English as a Second Language, from ESL grade 9 to ESL grade 12. Right? And every individual in that school taking ESL comes from some foreign country. And every individual in that school will tell you that the hall monitor with the locks, the hall monitor with the dreads, is the best hall monitor ever. Why? Because he has locks. And in our country, people who have locks are the most spiritual beings. And anything you want, you can go to them spiritually and they'll give it to you. And then you would be so overwhelmed that they were right in whatever you went to them for, that you'll empty your pockets to them. That they don't even have to work or whatever. And, you know, I'm at work, so I can't take the money. But, you know what I mean? They offer. Just because. Just because. Just because I called somebody on the radio and told them, you know, this individual needs whatever, you know, help them out or whatever like that, and then they got help. Now I'm indebted to them. That every morning they want, you sure you don't want me to buy you tea, breakfast, something like that? 10 people a day is going to ask me that. You sure you don't want me to buy you coffee or something like that? I'm going over to the store, I'll buy it for you, don't worry about it or whatever like that. Everybody knows that we are the founders of civilization. We don't know. Why? Because we don't listen to the prophet. When I show them this, you know what they say? When I show them this, or when they see this, you know what they always say? That's a good lucky number. What do they know about 7 being a lucky number? That they'll tell me that, oh, I see you wearing your lucky number. What does 7 have to do with me being dark skinned, you know what I mean? Being not from where they're from. How is my lucky number 7 to them? No matter where they're from. No matter where they're from. females, males, pale people, dark-skinned people, darker than me, people looking like my fez, every time they see me. Why are you doing that for? I don't wear fezzes and stuff like that at work and all that. They don't do that with anybody else. Everybody else, they shake their hand, tell them assalamu alaikum, or, give their greeting or whatever. When they see me, that's just some universal thing that Noble Drew Ali made up. He just made up just a universal thing of just standing like this. It's just a universal thing that he just made up. No, it's the culture of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. And when these people see their ancient foremothers and forefathers, they greet them accordingly. It's not something that they have to be told. Everybody, whether they're 40, 50, 60 years old trying to learn English, whether they're 20 years old, they're very familiar with who we are. For all the Moors who don't want to work and don't want to have a job and I'm sovereign, I don't need to work and all that type of stuff, work taught me that. So speaking about work taught me that, so I got an email today. I made a decision to focus my energy on my family and to stop studying and researching and teaching about Moors and Moorish stuff for a while, because in my journey of being active, they were not getting the attention they deserved. And part of it is because they were not open to learning, but that's another story. I just had to preface the story with that, so you understand how deep the sign was and is. I'm working in a corporate U.S. name as a limo driver. I pick up 5 European women to drive them to different wineries in Napa, California. I take them to this place called The Castle. I drop them off and go inside to the break room to waste some time. I even brought my Circle 7 to study, but I was in a real bad funk. I didn't want to do much of anything but work this job, collect this money. As I'm sitting here, a big tall European brother walks in and sits down. In an effort to not come off as a jerk, I say hello and start a little small talk with him. We are talking about limos, and in the middle of him talking, I hear him say, Hamdulillah. But he keeps on with his conversation effortlessly. So I find myself thinking, are you going crazy? It's no way this European man said something Islamic. You are hearing things. We continue on with the convo. I ask him where he is from, what he plans to do, blah, blah. He lets me know that he was born and raised in Napa and wants to transfer to this college in the Bay Area. I let him know I'm from there, and that's when he says, I want to go to the Lighthouse Mosque again. So now I'm thinking, okay, I know I heard him say mosque. Is this guy really Muslim? After he's done speaking, I ask him, how long have you been Muslim? He says, I converted 10 years ago. He went on saying how out here in Napa, pretty much all the people around here are so close-minded and have no clue what Islam is about, or have a skewed idea of it from TV and quote-unquote the news. But if he doesn't get mad at me, but that he doesn't get mad at them because they simply don't know what they don't know. He went on further saying he lived with 2 Muslim brothers who were Somalian, and they were 2 of the kindest brothers he had ever met in his life. And it was clear by the look in his eyes and his energy that Islam really changed him. He had a great energy to him. At this point, I'm smiling to him, but really, I'm smiling at just how amazing Allah's plans are, because he made the decision a few days before, because I had made the decision a few days before to stop the Moorish stuff, not to talk about it or teach or anything. I'm working my job where people are, particularly wealthy European people, are perceiving me to be quote unquote the black man and essentially a servant. And it was at this precise moment that I randomly run into a European brother who is a Muslim and is speaking to me about Islam and unity and loving your fellow man and not being angry with people who don't understand. I mean, if there ever was a sign, this was definitely it. And mind you, I didn't speak on Islam or Moors or anything about Muslims, etc. So it was something divine about us connecting, something deeper than what could be seen with our two eyes. This experience was a sign and another lesson that if I try, I cannot run away from this movement. I cannot turn off Islam and this Moorish knowledge I have and just go back to being the person I was before. I hope this story inspires you to, one, not judge people by their skin complexion or appearance, because had that brother never mentioned a mosque, I would have never asked him and got to know that he was a Muslim. I would have just assumed him to be just another European man. I also hope it inspires you to be more outspoken about our culture as Moors, because you never know who you could be talking to and what they know. Peace and love. So you can't turn this off once you turn it on. You can try, but you're going to have a hell of a time trying to turn this off. Because once this is turned on, right? Are Igbo the lost black Jewish tribe? Obi, Ebuka, Onochi. Obi, Ebuka, Onochie. For ages now, the Igbo people of Nigeria have claimed to be one of the lost tribes of the Jewish family. The claim to the Jewish heritage by Igbo people has been marred in many controversies by many who discredit it, while many others embrace it with all their souls. Both Igbos and non-Igbos partake in both acceptance and undermining of this claim. Does Igbo people really have Jewish heritage? This question remains the most phenomenal issue among the Igbos after their quest for Biafran independence. Mr. Adenka Makinde, Adeyinka Makinde, on October 2nd, 2007, at a seminar in Cecil Sharp House, Camden Town in North London, delivered a speech on a special Black History event for the Jewish Museum. In his speech, he stressed on the point that one must not agree with him that, though not fully proven, the Igbos have a strong link with the Jews in the Holy Land of Israel. Throughout his speech, he maintained that he is not Igbo and he is not Jewish but a researcher, was compelled to doing so based on the level of connection discovered already by researchers on this issue. In 1789, 13 years after America's independence, Aluda Equiano, a Christian-educated Igbo freed slave, made a remark in his narrative on the same subject. He was quoted as saying, "The strong analogy which appears to prevail in the manners and customs of my countrymen and those of the Jews before they reached the land of promise, and particularly the patriarchs, while they were yet in the pastoral state which is described in Genesis, which alone would induce me to think that the one people had sprung from the other." His essay was discarded, just like the notion of Igbos being Jewish by some historians was. while some other historians still carefully study it alongside other pieces of evidence pointing to this fact. Mr. Equiano, which was an English way of spelling Ikwano, Ikwuano, meaning for kindred, was known throughout his lifetime as Gustavus Vessa, Gustavus Vessa. He was not only known to propagate Igbo Jewish heritage, but was also a loud voice against slave trade. Just like King Jaja of Opobo Kingdom, he gained his freedom by hard work and strong belief to excel in whatever he did, which he considered another hallmark of his Jewish heritage. Remember, the Igbos, who are so-called Jewish, wear the headwear of the Moors. You know this is not Jewish headwear. You know that this is not Jewish headwear. You know this is the headwear of the Moors. Why are Jewish people wearing the headwear of the Moors? Because Jewish people, quote-unquote Israelites, and Moors are the same people, like we've been telling people. This is a message to where is it? For all the Rastafarians out there, make sure you go read November 24th, 1992. November 24th, 1992. Most Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards' speech to Honorable Lord Gifford, representative of the House of Lords of Great Britain. Make sure you go read that. And keep in mind, replace black with more. When you read this, replace black with more, and then you would understand why I am calling upon the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Honorable P.J. Patterson, Governor General Sir Howard Cook, Opposition Leader Mr. Edward Seaga, former Prime Minister Michael Manley, former Ministers of Foreign Affairs Mr. Hugh Shearer, Minister of Justice K.D. Knight, Minister of Foreign Affairs Honorable David Corr, Mr. Hector Winter, a former editor of Jamaican Daily Gleaner, and Lady Gladys Bustamante, widow and former secretary of the late Sir Alexander Bustamante, to fulfill the demand of the Royal House of Israelites, the Rastafarians, which is the freedom to return home freely without any immigration barriers through Article 1 to 15 to 30 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So make sure you go read Article 1, Rastafarians, and then go read Article 15. And then go read Article 30 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And don't forget, replace black with more. And then you'll understand exactly. You'll understand exactly why the Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards referred to His Imperial Majesty and Her Imperial Majesty as the Black Ark Sovereigns. Nationality is the order of the day. Oh, and speaking about that, here's an old picture that we found of an Abyssinian that you would call today Ethiopian. Anything familiar about this Abyssinian that you would call today Ethiopian? That Noble Drew Ali told you that you're not Ethiopian? Wonder why? Because you're Moors. That's why you're not Ethiopian. So remember, we went from Uganda, Cameroon, and now we're in Ethiopia. Fez is up. But they're going to call themselves Africans. They're going to call themselves what they are. They're going to call themselves what they appear to be. And then think that Moors are calling ourselves what we appear to be because they think that, you know, we're practicing Turkish stuff or something. Could lead a horse to water. That's all you could do.
Gozy, your mic is unmuted now. Go ahead.
Ask me, why do I keep using the term African? If anybody know about history, the actual people that were free, that lived in that zone in Carthage, which is modern-day Tunisia, was an actual tribe of people. They were a tribe of free people. They were a tribe of Amazigh people or the Berber people. They were called the free. This is who Scipio Africanus invaded. The Phoenicians said the word meant the ash, or which meant people of the dust, because they lived in the deserty areas. So this is why I can use the term African. I don't care about what Scipio Africanus said. I mean, American. If you're going to call yourself a Moorish American, the term American comes from a cracker that died over here. American.
Right now, you already know, right, that when the Negroes, the blacks, the colored, the conscious people, when they start talking about America is named after a European that died here, you already know that they don't study. You already know that they have a warped perception of geography. Right? We know that. This is why I call these Titans TV guys the new House of Consciousness. Because they're purposely bringing idiots on their stuff to talk about things that they have no idea what they're talking about. Purposely, they're doing this. Right? This is deliberate acts of propaganda by the conscious community. Right? These are deliberate acts to cause confusion amongst the weak minds. Same thing as Noble Drew Ali talked about. He already warned people that they're going to be trying every weak mind to overthrow the true foundation of what's been laid down. They got self-proclaimed sheik who admitted on Facebook that his peers made him Supreme Grand Sheik and Grand Sheik. His peers. How he's a Grand Sheik and he doesn't have a temple, I don't know. Because according to the process, the protocol, if you're a Grand Sheik, it's because you have a temple. You're not going to be a Grand Sheik that was never, you're not going to be a rabbi that was never head of a synagogue. You're not going to be an imam that was never head of a mosque. You're not going to be a principal if you never was the head of a school. So how he could be a grand sheik when he's just walking around the place, I don't know. Right? And since we're dealing with haters, let's just see what this Hebrew Israelite who's been calling me down for I don't know why. Let's just see what message he left. If he even left a message.
Why are you putting on that fake voice, you dirty man? Fuck you.
So that was the Hebrew Israelite guy. Right? That was the Hebrew Israelite guy that when we said that we're doing stuff, unity amongst the Hebrew Israelites or whatever, right? Matter of fact, why don't we call him live and see what he has to say? Let's just see if we could catch him off guard right now. Let's just do a crank call on this Hebrew Israelite and see what happens. Let's just see, just for, since we're live, you know what I mean? Let's just see what happens. Maybe he answered, maybe he not. I don't know. Let's just see.
Hello, this is an Israelite.
Yes, did somebody call Kudro from this number?
Sorry?
Someone call Kudro from this number?
You don't sound very bright. Who are you?
This is Kudro L.
Is that right? Yeah, you sound like a bloody moron. You are, right?
Say that again?
You're a moron, right?
Yeah, I'm a Moor, yeah.
Yeah, you said, no, I said moron. You don't even hear right. I said you're a moron.
Oh, I'm a moron?
Not a moron.
Oh,
But it means the same thing anyway.
okay.
So what's this about slavery being a myth, asshole? You think it's a myth? Maybe you're a myth.
Did you find those slave ships?
Anybody who tries
Did you find those slave ships that I sent you to go look for?
brought across in the transatlantic slave trade is a fucking moron.
Where-
And that's what you are. That's why I don't want to debate with
where's
you.
the
You're
slave
a fucking
ships?
asshole. You need to have an ass. You need to lick my ass. Kiss it. Don't ever talk to me again, you fucking moron. Fuck you.
I think we'll call back. Let's call back. Let's just call back. Let's just see. Maybe it was a wrong number. Let's just call back. Hello? Is this the Israelites?
Fuck you. I told you, what part of that don't you understand? You're an unintelligent moron. You're the product of incest.
Do you work for the
Science
court?
has shown that the products of incest are usually morons.
Can I ask you a question?
And you say you're one, right?
Can
You're
I
proud of being a moron?
can I ask you a question?
Can I ask you a question?
Didn't
You're part of that, don't you understand?
didn't Abraham sleep with his sister Sarah?
I told you already, fuck you.
Oh. Oh shoot. What we gotta deal with, man. What we gotta deal with. So that's who it was, Moors. Just so you know, that's who it was, right? Just so you know. That was the same guy in the video, the bald guy. You know what I mean? I was talking all soft and stuff, wrote respect on the board and all that stuff. That's the same guy. These demons. See how these demons do. Don't worry. We'll let him know that he was alive. gosh. These guys are crazy. They're definitely crazy. Clearly, I'm not the crazy one. He didn't like that Abraham sleeping with his sister one though. That one. Islam to my Hebrew Moors. Islam to my Hebrew Moors. The Hebrew Moors that put me onto that one.
I'm about it.
For the payback. Anytime they come to you, right? This one for the Moors. Anytime the Hebrews try to come pull that incest, Moabite incest stuff, just bring up Abraham sleeping with his sister Sarah, marrying his sister Sarah, and see what they say. See how fast they shut up.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to open it up. It's either Ngozi or Lord Abba to have their say on that.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. I'm a very passionate guy about the continent, bro. This is Brother Ngozi. I'm not gonna tolerate. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello?
1 minute. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm saying I'm not gonna tolerate anybody disrespecting the mother continent, yo. Even when it comes to the word, we understand the word. And Brother Lord Abba produced something. I heard about that before, and it's very important. Lord Abba, my man. That's my brother right there. But I'm not going to let nobody disrespect Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America either. But I know I got a minute. But all I'm saying is that, a lot of these people have a lot of self-hate for the continent. And I'm learning that. They have a lot of self-hate from the continent. They want to be from everywhere else except where they really come from. Except where they really come from. That's all I really can say. I really don't have no direction where I'm going. I'm just saying I'm just learning that a lot of people have a lot of self-hate. They want to be from Israel. They want to be from Pakistan. They want to be from the Americas. They do not respect where they come from genetically. And they talk about their ancestors. Who are your ancestors? Because you don't know them. That's all I got to say, yo.
Thank you.
Now, if Noble Drew Ali told the Moors that you're descendants of the Moabites and Moab, well, we know that there's Moab, Utah. But, Noble Drew Ali wasn't talking about that. If he's talking about ancient or whatever. Clearly, Moab has to be over there somewhere. So, when you do further research, you find out that all the continents were one continent. So that means that, to say that your ancestry is from Africa, but you're not from anywhere else, is pretty much folly. Because you can't tell me that you're from Africa, but then you're not from the Americas. When Africans, so-called, came over here. They still come over here right now. Matter of fact, how come conscious people who claim that they come from the continent, how come they all live in America? Why don't they go back where they come from like European told them? If they're such tough guys and they came from Israel and they came from all these other places, why are they still here? Why don't they rebuild some of those slave ships that brought them over here and just go back where the hell they came from? Because they can't. Why can't they? Because when they go over there, the people over there are going to tell them, get the hell out of here because you're not from here. Just ask African. So-called. Go ask anybody from the continent. And they will tell you. You don't look like you're from over here. Just go try. Trust me. They've told me. I work with them at work. They've told me. And I don't look like any of them. Ain't none of them that I look at that I can say I look like them. They look different if they're from over there. And the people over here don't look like those people over there. Couple more stuff just touch on quick fast. We got some questions. We'll just let those guys slide for now. Brother Amir L. 6 months ago, I found out that my wife, who was an Arawak Moor misnomer Haitian with dual citizenship, became pregnant with our daughter with 3 months left to get ready. She was a minor when her family applied for dual citizenship to and for her. At the time of her conception, I was down and out about how my life was, so I decided to study law, which led me to finding out about us Moors. She became aware of our Moor nationality synonymously, as did I. The conflict is that she is so in fear of them deporting her back to Hispaniola, Haiti, away from our baby, that I cannot convince her to claim her nationality. And so the battle began. I studied and studied every day, starting from then to my competence now in time. How can I resolve this issue if she decides to reclaim her nation or not reclaim her nation? Okay, so let me answer that with this message that I got from our good brother Samaris M. He left a message on the summit video. This is for the fam that quote unquote Haitian. Salam, I wish to give you some details on which I would advise to research. First, Hispaniola, the indigenous, would rather use the terms Zaragua or Quisqueya, Xaragua, or Kiskeya. Second, if you are able to read French, this is from Brother Crackpit. If you are able to read French, look up Memoirs du Général Toussaint Louverture, written by himself. Scroll to page 101. Before he left the realm, his words were, C'est ici que mourut le roi mort. C'est ici, CEST, ICI, QUE, MOURUT, LEROI, MAURE. Translation, it's here that the Moorish king died. Toussaint Louverture's own words in his Memoirs du Général Toussaint Louverture. Let's put that out there for the so-called Haitian family. And for Brother Crackpit. I know he's going to have fun with that. And let us know what you find more, because I know that you're going to go in when you find that memoir. So the second part of that question was with regard to the same relationship thing we always talk about. Nobuju Ali talked about it, right? If you can't get your wife to join the temple, instead of one apple, you give her two. That was back then. Instead of one apple, give her a basket today of apples. Meaning, take notes from, for example, Brother Rami. Take a step back. It's not that serious. You could take a step back and, do what you can to make her comfortable. Because women's scorn, you don't want none of that. Especially where children are involved or whatever. You don't want none of that. And with regard to the sister, don't worry about them deporting you because you're home. They can't deport you to somewhere where you are. And like we say, if there is some fear of, them attacking you or anything like that when it comes to nationality and birthrights, learn how to live within contracts and continue to study while you're living in contracts. Continue to study so you can get rid of the fear. Remember, we said about the graph. We said about the graph. The physical realm breeds anger, victimization, desire, and fear. So if you are experiencing fear, know that you are still dealing in the physical realm. You want to get out of anger, desire, fear, and victimization and be in the mental realm where there's reason, courage, pride, and entitlement. You want to at least get to the upper, you want to get to at least the upper layers of fear. You don't want to be entrenched in fear. You want to be at like the top layers of fear, which would be pride and entitlement. So moving from the physical realm into the mental realm. Once you're at the threshold of going from the physical realm to the mental realm, in your life you'll start experiencing pride and entitlement. When you cross the threshold from the physical realm to the mental realm, you will start experiencing in your life pride and entitlement. Once you get to pride and entitlement, now you're entering the mental realm. But remember, pride and entitlement, even though you're in the mental realm, is still facets of the fear jurisdiction. But the fear is very faint. The fear is very, it's a very low vibration of fear when you get to the pride and entitlement realms of existence mentally. When you get out of fear completely and you move into love, the low vibrations of love are courage and reason. So once you start reasoning and you have courage, you're on the low vibrations of the love realm mentally, and you're moving toward the spiritual realm. Upon crossing the threshold of the mental realm into the spiritual realm, you're going to leave courage and reason and embrace acceptance. So you'll once you get into the spiritual realm, you accept you stubbed your toe to learn something. You accept that you are just doing a job and you bump into this tall European that's Muslim. You accept the lesson that was taught. You accept that some people are stupid. That's why they're gonna call you, and when you call them back, they're gonna tell you F you, and you know what I mean? When they're supposed to be, civilized beings, you accept the fact that certain people aren't civilized. They're demons in disguise. And their purpose is to try to get you to fall back down all the steps back into the victim stage where he swore at me and he ain't do nothing to anybody. He ain't nobody. No, he's nobody. We already saw the video, right? He has belly and all that type of stuff, right? You already know. Balding and stuff like that. You already know that they're vibrating somewhere else that's not in bounds with righteousness, right? So once you cross that threshold of the lower love realm mentally into the spiritual realm, you get into acceptance, wisdom, love, and unconditional love. And we're just go online and look into higher and lower self personal development, and a chart's gonna come up that looks like a pyramid. Higher and lower self personal development, and just print that chart up, post that chart up, right? So you can have your guideline as to how you're going to get yourself from your lower vibration to your higher vibration. And you don't need the secret and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? All you need to do is use reason, logic, common sense, and listen to what Noble Drew Ali laid down for you, because he did more than Moors even know what he did. Let's bother him one more time, just for kicks. Just see. Since I have the number, might as well use it.
Hello, Moabite. What do you want now?
Is this the Hebrew Israelites?
Why do you keep asking stupid questions? Who are you calling?
Did Abraham sleep with his sister?
Who are you?
Did Abraham sleep with his sister?
Why don't you answer my question, moron?
I'm just asking if Abraham, isn't that
I
incest?
don't know who you are. I don't speak to morons. You sound like one. You don't sound too bright.
Isn't that incest?
Who is this?
That's not incest?
Okay, you're a product of incest yourself? Were your parents sister and brother?
Pardon?
Pardon? You sound like such an idiot. Look, I'm telling you, I don't talk to idiots. So get lost.
Are you gonna call the police? Are you gonna call the police on me since you're a legal advisor?
Slavery exists, right?
Since you're a legal advisor, are you gonna call the police on me?
You think that Elvis is still alive?
Are you gonna call the police on me?
You think that the moon is made of cheese?
Weren't you gonna charge me with something?
You think the earth is flat? What's wrong with you?
I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing because you're live right now. You're live. All right.
You sound very illiterate.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. You are a problem.
I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
That's your problem.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
You deny that slavery exists, eh?
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
They're just made up by black people.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
You are not going to see me. No, I don't want to see you ever again.
I'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, buddy. 2 weeks.
Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? You're a moron.
2
You don't
weeks.
understand that, do you? You
I'll
don't
see
even
you
have
in
the
2
mental
weeks.
capacity to understand what I just told.
Michael Eve. How do I get real gold and silver at this time and know you're not being ripped off? Because I know quarters are made of nickel and copper and only a little silver. Well, what you could do is find someone who is um, find someone who is in that realm, we'll say, you know, somebody who studies that, and get them to buy your stuff. Like, get them to buy your gold and silver. And then keep in mind that, you know, you don't want to stick to just buying gold and silver, because gold and silver, you can't give and get change back in gold and silver. So on top of gold and silver, consider also other legitimate currencies, you know. So get some Chinese currency, get some dinar, get some, you know, little bit of whatever currencies is acceptable worldwide that's backed by gold and silver. Get those currencies and stash those. So at least that way, when you pay with that, you can get that back. If you give gold, you're not getting back gold in change, right? So keep in mind that, yeah, we want to have gold and silver, but remember, you can't spend that. And if you're trying to have something for if the system falls that you can spend still, then get something that you can spend. Don't just stack up gold and silver just because, you know what I mean, you want to have gold and silver, right? Oh yeah, and just for the record, you know, we don't hate dirty Moors, but we definitely don't love them. You know, the love that we got is for people who are sincere, trustworthy, right? But, you know, we don't hate or nothing, but don't think that dirty Moors are getting any love from Cujo. It ain't going down like that. I don't got love for them. They can get the hell out of here with that crap. They're on their own with that. You know, can't tell me that we didn't try to love them. I mean, we had the Unity Summit. You know what I mean? Took 5 hours out of our day or whatever. As far as the Moors, we gave them 3 extra hours, and then that's what's going on the phone. They didn't get no love. 0. The good brother Hassan Ghazi Al Bey has an instrumental music liberal art album, 11 songs that have recently been composed under the rhythmic nom de plume DJ 37 boxes, purposefully tuning each instrument and master output at A equals 432 Hz with no lyrics beside the vocal tag instrumentals solamente, assisting in continuously energizing your chakras, activating our pineal glands, etc. 37 Boxes Music Trust presents DJ 37 Boxes Pineal Activations 1437 Healing 3 Instrumentals. If you want to contact the brother with regard to getting hold of the instrumentals vibrating on the hertz of 432, you can email him at Hassan, Hasan, Ghazi, Ghazilbey, Hassan Ghazi Elbey at gmail.com. Hassan Ghazi Elbey at gmail.com, right? And brother would set you up with the Brother will set you up with the Hertz music. And the last question that we have, what is the purpose of the movement when Moors won't help other Moors sleep and awaken alike to proclaim nationality and become sovereign? Did we enslave each other? And why did we sell other Moors to other groups of people? If some of us have licenses, can we get out of those contracts? How do we use the birth certificate and social security account? So we'll go backwards. You cannot use the birth certificate and social security account because those instruments, birth certificate, social security, are void ab initio, mean they were void from their inception. So for you to get a credit from something that's void is fraud, because you can't get a credit from something that's void. All right, it just you can't take a you can't drink from an empty glass. You know, you're playing yourself drinking from an empty glass. You might assume that you're quenching your thirst. You might think that air is liquid, but it doesn't really go like that. And then what you should be doing is, whoever told you that, go to them and ask them to show you the credit that they got from the void instruments, and bet you they have nothing to show. Or bet you they have some papers for you to file that's going to cost you some funds, which leads to the other question. Some of us have licenses. Can we get out of those contracts? You are not in those contracts like that. It's not, the perspective is wrong. We have been, if you know that you're El Bey de Al or Ali, and you know that that's who you are, and the instrument says something that's not El Bey de Al or Ali, then that's not you. If that's you, then you're liable to those contracts. If that's not you, then you're not liable to those contracts. But what comes back to, again, what we talked about earlier, that when you get into this information, don't go acting like you know something and throwing away stuff without having full knowledge. Humble. Accept the fact that, which leads to your other question, you've been sold to the state by your leaders who convinced you that you're black. Doesn't matter what you call yourself. Go get a license, go get a marriage certificate, go get a whatever. That's really a government when they're a private corporation. It's your own people that sold you out into thinking this way. It's your own people that made you believe that capital N on Negro and capital B on black is a noun. When you check a dictionary, no such thing exists. Right, so when you say, why did we sell other Moors to other groups of people, know that the Moors who sold you into slavery are the ones that abandoned the prophet and started talking all this BS that people are talking about today, that they want to debate about stuff and they want to go on Titan TV and talk about they know something about Moors, they love Noble Drew Ali, but they're not telling people proclaim their nationality. They're talking about African stuff. But they love Noble Drew Ali so much, how come they didn't read the part where he said this should not be compared to any Back to Africa movement? Why? Because we're not from Africa. How come they're not talking about you're not Negro, black, or colored? How come they're talking about, what he said is not relevant in 2016? Well, if it's 2016 and people still call themselves black, and Noble Drew Ali came in 1913 to tell people that they're not black, clearly his program is still needed. His program is very much needed still, if there's still people calling themselves black today, right? Did we enslave each other? Yes, we did. We're still enslaving each other today. Just go find, like KRS once said, black cop, black cop, black cop, black cop. The black cop, right? And then he works for the other side, and then they're using him to be an overseer on his brothers and sisters. Yeah, we're still enslaving each other today. We got Moors telling people they can't be Moors unless they come to the temple. And then when they get in the temple, they're holding them for ransom in the temple, that they can't wear their fez outside the temple and stuff like that. Yeah, we're enslaving our people still today. That's just what it is. Right? What is the purpose of the movement when Moors won't help other Moors sleep and awaken alike to proclaim nationality and become sovereign? The purpose of the movement is for you to study. So you won't have to rely on Moors to help you get awakened. That's why Noble Drew Ali said, think and save yourself. Because during his time, he knew that Moors weren't helping other Moors. Even though we have a holy covenant of the Asiatic nation that we should help each other, he knew in his time that Moors weren't helping Moors. And because Moors weren't helping Moors is why we're suffering today. So it would be good for Moors to start helping Moors, which is why we see things turning around, because Moors are starting to help Moors. Just ask all the Moors who call active Moors and get help. There's many Moors that speak. Let's say there's many unconscious Moors that speak to conscious active Moors and get help. So that statement, is like how they have blanket bonds. You're taking that statement, you're putting it on all Moors. Just like they take one bond and put it on their whole squad of officers, so-called officers. Can't do that. Because there are Moors who help other Moors. It's not just there's no Moors that help Moors. There are Moors that help other Moors. Right? So if those things aren't answered in their entirety, what you're going to do is you're going to go to rvbaypublications.com, which is the Moorish University, and go sit on that website there for a couple months. We say a year, maybe a year and a half. Put in some good time on that website. Guarantee you'll get your answers. Guarantee you'll get your answers. And when you're on that site, you have to have a bias approach, blinders on, and it's RV Bay Publications every day, all day, and referencing from that site outward. But don't stray too far. As soon as you find yourself going 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and you haven't been back to RV Bay Publications or whatever, because this rabbit hole starts going like this, stop yourself, go back, and hit RV Bay Publications again. Right? And then before we close out, we just want to show a couple more. Uganda again. Feathers up. Uganda. We'll just say somewhere in Africa. South Africa. Charles Mutari III, Rudahigwa, Maui, du Rwanda, Rwanda. say somewhere in Africa. Somewhere in Africa. Even as the sun disk on the front. You know. Got his cutlass right there. Bullet pistol here. Your tail. Ever get slapped with a cutlass yet? And Chief Zunan, French West Africa. And before we go, got an email from a private investigator. Private investigator sent me this email. I don't know who this individual is, right? But he clearly knows that we'll do something with this. So he sent me, or she sent me, a comprehensive report of Michael E. Nowak, who we know as Brother Polite. And this is a comprehensive report of, you know, their properties and whether they got bankruptcies, liens, and judgments. And, you know, it's a system may be used only in accords with, you know, some acts, Drivers Privacy Protection Act, usage of data and stuff like that. But what was interesting on this is that the social security number that Polite has is from somebody that's 80 years old. The social security, now we know he's not 80. So whose social security number is he using that's 80 years old? Just for you to think about who you're showing your allegiance to, whose stuff you're watching, and who you're following out there. And then there was another one for Antoine de Bergerac de Cosney, who we know as Enki. And he has a social security number from somebody who died at 65. So be very mindful of these individuals, because the karmic stuff that they have coming, you don't want to be near them when their karmic stuff drops. So just to put it out there, some of these conscious community people, when they talk about their net worth is $1 million all of a sudden, in 2 months their net worth is $1 million and stuff like that, but they have social security numbers that they're claiming is theirs, but on record it's from dead people. Stay away from them people. You've been warned. Islam to all the Moors. Peace, love, and hotep. We will continue on. Don't forget, join us today, Tuesday the 19th of April at 9:30 p.m. blogtalkradio.com, MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. blogtalkradio.com/MHHS-Eyes Wide Open. Call-in number 347-945-5899. 347-945-5899. All active Moors, peace and love. All Moors that are coming into the consciousness of knowing that you're Moors. Islam, peace and love. All the Moors in the chat, all the Moors that tuned in today to Canaanland Moors class. Islam, peace and love. Honors, supreme honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Thank you so much for bringing us back our nationality and our birthrights. Because we are not Negro, black, and colored people. We are Moors. Islam to all the Moors. And oh yeah, don't forget the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Honors to you for everything that you've done to bring us the concept of nationhood. And as well, all the master teachers that didn't shut their mouth and hide this information. Supreme honors to you, because without y'all putting the information out, we would have never been inspired to know that this is ours and to take the bull by the horns and do something with this birthright. And what we're supposed to do with this birthright, before we build hospitals, before we build schools, before we do all these things that people, before we have military, you always hear these people, where's the Moors this and where's the Moors that? Before we have any of that stuff, our job is to uplift fallen humanity. And remember that humanity is women, because once we wake up the sisters, once we wake up the mothers, we wake up the nation. Islam, Moors, peace and love. Let's close out. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Ashe. Peace, Moors, Islam.